Wow, that was a bad ending to the last episode. But if you remember, I told you it was a big mistake for Danny to bring that stranger back home to her house. And she paid a hefty price for it. We got to deal with this, sis. Let's get into it. Okay, so where we left off last week, Fatima has arrived at Karen's apartment. Mom was really nice to her. She told her, she looked beautiful and she thanked her, which makes me love, the unbiased nature of Miss Lisa. So she spoke to everyone and she spoke to Karen last, and Karen was like, welcome to my home. She's probably like, oh my God. Now this of the entire season so far, this was the most I think emotional, profound, yet mature whole dynamic of this healing process for Karen with her mom. I really like this. So of course, Zach is feeling some kind of way. I thought you wasn't gonna come. And she was like, I changed my mind. I thought it was important that I came. And Miss Lisa thought the same thing. And of course, Karen's like, yeah, why did you come? And then mom said, I think it's a good idea. So, she sat down, and I know this is very comfortable. I can see myself in Karen's shoes, Fatima's shoes, and Zach's. I think the one who was the most calm or had the most least uncomfortable situation was Aaron and the mom. All three of them, I really commend them, because it takes a great mature level to even for Karen to do this and just to sit through this with Zach and Fatima. So mom said, did you know why you here? And she said, Zach told her a little, but, I'd rather you tell me. So she said, this is my daughter, you know, this is the love of her life. And she basically, when your child hurts, you hurt. So you don't want to see them hurt. And she said, this means everything to her. She asked if she had a child. She said, no, not yet. Karen over there shaking her head no, with her little 2 cents in. But, she wanted to know, Fatima, if she was going to get a chance to say something as well. But mom said, no, this is for Karen right now. You get a chance later, because she had some things, a page, I guess she wanted to unleash as well. Fatima's not going to come in there without saying anything. So she said, Karen can start. So Karen went on to read her letter. And what's interesting about this whole thing, I know it's a healing process for Karen to unpack a lot of stuff. But if you think about it, Aaron's letter really wasn't that much about Aaron. It really was a lot about Zach, if you notice that. And now Zach had to go through that, had him in tears. And now he has to go through, in front of Aaron, making him look like complete garbage and trash. So she went on to talk about why she hates butterflies so much. And it was the day she met him on the train, and he was scared and fell in her lap, listening to, watching him run from this butterfly, like a bitch. So she really put him down yet again. Now, Karen, of course, you saw all the pain, all the anger, but it's a lot for Zach to sit through, because Karen, at the end of the day, you stayed with a man who you talk about like he's nothing for 3 years. And, you have to look at yourself for this as well. Now, you loved him, you cared about him, and I think in Zach's way, he in his own way, he loved you too. But, you two just wasn't at a point in your lives where, especially Zach, where he can handle a woman on a mature level. And it was so painful to her have to unwrap how she felt. And yes, it was all negative. It was toxic. It was very uncomfortable. You saw Fatima and Zach. Zach felt like little to nothing. But she said, because of what she experienced with him, she hates the fact that she still wants him. But she doesn't even know what a good relationship is. And he pointed to Fatima. And she was like, see, Ma, that's why I want to do this. Well, you're going to have to take your part and your medicine, just like you dishing it out, Karen. So it goes both ways. So she got sensitive to hear that, because, you're pregnant with a man's child. You wish you can have him in your life, and you see him here in a loving relationship with this woman. Now, Zach was so angry. He was like, she's talking all the negative. She's not saying nothing about the good times. And I paid her $75,000 back. And the thing that was really sad for me as well for Zach is the fact that he said, I told her along the way that I hated that she had to do so much for me. He just wasn't at a good point in his life where, like he said, I'm always put down from his mom, his family members, and wasn't a healthy upbringing. So she was like, well, that $75,000 wasn't enough. And so everybody got a chance to talk now. And of course, Aaron, he's going to look like the good guy. And he's going to say still he loves her through all of this. And she's looking at him like where'd you come from? Like, who are you? And I'm like, you really don't know Karen that great to be this ride or die for her, Aaron. But this is what he putting out. I've yet to see another side of him yet. I'm still waiting on that. And of course, Zach's feeling some kind of way because Aaron's looking like a saint, right? And he looks like garbage. And Zach's like, really, man, didn't your ex-wife off herself right in front of Karen, and it went too far? And that's when Aaron was like, watch it. And, even Karen tried to tell him to chill with that because that's a sensitive topic, but it's true. I mean, you acting like this noble, great man doing all this forgiveness for Karen in this situation with being pregnant by you or Zach, but you didn't seem to have any mercy for your wife whatsoever. So after being slammed for so long, of course, Zach wants to leave. But Fatima said, no, I want to say something. So, she talked about I told you before, if this is Zach's baby, I would bring no harm to your child, like I mentioned you before. But I want you to know that what you and Zach had is over. And Mom said, you understand? And she said, yeah. And then she talked about how, sometimes we use the N-word in our community and how we use, bitch. But sometimes we use that in our culture as endearing with our girlfriends. But when you have somebody that's not your friend calling you a bitch, I got a problem with that. And Mom didn't know. And Mom checked her on using those words, and the situation would come into her house. It's not going to be no coming to Zach's house waiting around. And she put it out there. Mom said, you've been doing that? And she said, yeah. And so Mom let her know too, those were some wrong actions. So with that being said, it really ignited something in Karen. It really upset her that this woman is in my house, I guess, checking her on her man. And, just watching the dynamic of her and Zach's endearment towards each other, I think was a lot for Karen to take hold of, because then she got really emotional. She didn't want to hear no more from Fatima. She just wanted to get out of that situation. And if I was in that hot seat with Karen and just watching, the man that you love with another woman starting a future that you wish you had, it would be hard to stay in that seat too. So she was just like, I'm done. I'm sorry. Y'all get out of my house. Just get out. So at this point, Zach is like, fine, because it's embarrassing for him to hear the negativity on how he treated Karen. And also, hearing this in front of Aaron, who seems to be this noble, goody two-shoes of a guy. And then to hear this in front of your woman, put down, this was really hard. But, at least he knows now how she feels. That's a lot of anger behind that. But Karen had to get out what she had to get out. So now Fatima's explaining to the mom, about the conception and how she can really do a count to find out when this conception may have happened. But the mother told her that she had an ultrasound, which she wasn't aware of. And she asked Aaron, and Aaron was like, we had sex in the same week. So it is what it is. So they left and they bid each other adieu. Fatima said Karen's lucky to have a mom like her, and she hoped that this situation helped. And of course, Aaron said bye too, and Zach wasn't trying to hear that. He like, don't say nothing to my woman. So that whole stressful situation is over, but hopefully it can bring about a better tomorrow and a healing for Karen and everyone involved. So yet to be continued. So now at the bar is Gary and Hayden, and this joker is like comical. He's going on about Fatima and how she wanted him so bad. Gary know he lying. I'm like, man, cut it out. You know good and well that you ain't had, Fatima ain't had no desire for your little one night stand she had with you, and that was done and over. So then he went on to talk about, how the situation with the business with Robin. And I hate this with two brothers, one trying to bring another brother's business down, behind a woman. I mean, this is bad. This is something that shouldn't even be happening. When you have a weasel like Hayden, definitely he's gonna be behind it, trying to fan the flame. So he's trying to talk to him about the situation with Andi. Like, why do you still want Andi? She only being nice to you because you knew we was gonna sue her. But you actually, his judgment with liking Andi so much is a little skeptical for him. So they had this little bet going that he can get Andi to have him come over, and if either of them win, they'll, one or the other will get 3 shares. So he's sweet talking Andi. I'm coming over. She really don't want to, because she knows she got to try to get over to this jail and see Sabrina, and it'll be a long night with Gary. But she fell, of course, she fell for it. So he's going to come over. She said she can come over for a little while. So that was that. So Hayden lost that bet, and he was out of there. So he was like, okay, I'm gone. And they had their little small talk, and, they'll talk to each other later. But they are conniving to bring Robin and his business down, thinking he's involved in something shady when it comes to the money. So we will see how that all plays out. Now, here you go with Calvin, the joke of the night. I mean, as usual, I don't even like talking about these two, because Calvin looks like an absolute clown. He always comes into place cursing Q out, but this time it went too far. Like, this is where you have to man up, Calvin, and basically find another place to stay. But when your friend is being robbed, his entire home, Q is getting, used the money to smoke up from drugs, everything he sold. Had friends eat up all the food in the house. He like, yeah, I smoked the TV. I smoked up the food. I mean, it's a place where you're not comfortable in your own house, because now he's stealing your stuff. He stole and sold his father's golf clubs when he checked the bedroom, and just disrespectful things happening. And all Q does is laugh in his face because he feels he can't do anything. I'm at the point now where I could care less now what happens with Calvin, because this is absolutely stupid. What he should do is find some other way to go, call the cops, and have Q removed. Or he's on that bracelet, tell him that he's getting high, he brought people in here and stole stuff, and the owner is not here right now. I'm here house sitting. This guy's not supposed to be here. He has a record. And have him leave. Have the cops take him away, and either he comes back or he stays away and find another place to go until Maurice gets out, or whatever the case may be, because this right here now is it's a joke. So Q said what he said, made fun of him, and Calvin, of course, stomped on like he usually do, went about his business. Now, here we go back at the house with Zach and Fatima, and of course, they're settling from the night. And Zach's wondering, what's going on in her head. And he's like, basically, do you believe what Karen said? What do you think? And she was like, yeah, I believe her. So now, it's like, so you think I'm trash just like her? And that's not the point. No, I don't think that's you. But at the same token, I understand what she went through. I understand the investment that she had in you. And he's like, okay, so it's about money. She said, yeah, I'm making an investment. We both making an investment. So you with the money? And she was like, I could be with a millionaire on a yacht, or a billionaire on a yacht, but I'm here instead with you. So he felt some kind of way by that. But she was like, my choice to be with you is to be with you. But any relationship, just like a marriage, it's a business. You two love each other, but it's a partnership. It's like a business when you're in marriage, and when you two are doing for each other, it is an investment in each other, and it's an investment in building a future together. Not like you using one another, but you hope that what you're putting in reaps a return, in love, in honor, and building a family. You know what I'm saying? Building an empire together. And that's what she said the investment was. She wasn't looking to get the money back from you, Zach. She was looking for a return. And he really couldn't understand that. But she gave the analogy when he was in Chain Breakers, and if he invested in that and somebody came and took his money, or like that, and I say this to my mother all the time, you sit at the in Atlantic City at the slot machine and you put money in this slot machine all day and you get nothing, but somebody takes your seat and they hit the jackpot. That's what it is, and that's how Karen feels. So he understood that analogy, and she went to explain how she could have been pregnant with him several times, because he asked how you know about this whole little, counting the numbers of conception. She was like, well, all the times that we did it and the times I would have came up pregnant, believe me, I know how to count. He was like, yeah, so let's start with that and get busy now, since you know how to count, so to speak, so you know them too. But so here's Karen with her mom, and seeing how she feels. And she's just basically hoping, Mom, this works and I'll feel better, and she's been crying, but she's been getting a lot out. And it's like a breather. You can exhale a little bit because you unleashed a lot that was on your heart. I think there was so much more to say. Zach had no response to that, and I'm sure she's filled with a lot of pain. But it's going to take time. It's those soul ties that you have to a person that you have sexually and emotionally and physically been with for a period of time. They're connected to you. Even when you're mad, when you're upset, when you're hurt, that person is still a part of your soul. And it's going to take a spiritual cleanse, mental cleanse, physical cleanse, a fast, to get spiritual fast, mental, all of that, to get you whole again and get that person out of your system. It's going to take a while. It's going to take time. But with time, I'm sure she'll get better. And Mom said, you know what, Fatima, she's a pretty cool girl. And I see, what you mean. And she said, yeah, that's what makes me hate her even more. The fact that she is, a nice sister. And outside of all this mess, is probably someone she would hang with. So she asked Mom if she could get in bed with her. And Mom said, yeah, sometimes when you go through emotions, you need your mom. And I really like Miss Lisa. And she said, she started thinking, like, Aaron is almost too good to be true. I really like him. He really loves you. But it is. We can't put our finger on what it is with him and his past. But I think we have yet to learn more about Aaron yet. I hope he stays good, but I don't know. It is just not adding up too much for me. And so Karen was like, yeah, now you see when people think I'm crazy. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Mom. So she's basically like, we'll see. Karen just wants to get back to work, but Mom not hearing that. So now we have, Danny wrestling with this guy that I dreaded her bringing her back to the apartment. I mean, they both, liquored up, so that's not helping. And now you fighting this man off, and this is just a bad situation waiting to happen. Like I said last week, ladies, do not do this. Please do not do this. So she sneaks away in the bathroom to call Andi, and Andi like, what's going on? And she's talking about, this man, he's not satisfying her sexually. He's not hitting on anything. He's probably just basically humping around like some little first-time teenager. But it's just not making it with her. And she realizes, Andi said, contact Preston. Because this is what it's about. It's the situation with him going away and marrying, his first love if it don't work out with Danny. And she's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. This Preston is in your head, and you're taking out a bad situation like many of us do with drugs, alcohol, sex. We use these things to cover up our problems and what we're dealing with. And this man is not who she wants. It's Preston. And this whole hot girl summer, you too old for that. So Andi is basically telling her to go back to this man and deal with this situation and get him out of your apartment. Yes. Now, Gary has arrived over by Andy's for his little night cap, his little romp around. And, she greeted him and, welcomed him in and told him basically, you're going to be around for a while, but go take your shower. And, I guess we'll meet afterwards. So while he's doing that, she happens to discover the papers that he had from the business with Robin. And after they do their little small talk and he goes in the shower, she goes through the paper and she peeks out what he's going to do. Now, I don't know all the details of this company takeover and how he's trying to bring Robin down, but, she got a little glimpse. She couldn't get into it too much because Gary's there, but she got a little glimpse that he's up to no good. First of all, knowing that he's scamming and doing all this mess, I don't even know how she can sleep with Gary, but she still does in light of him doing something slimy like this in a company that she works for, nonetheless. Now, here is Andi coming back, looking at this man like, I can't do this. I got to, get back. And he's like, come here. He's all ready. And they go through this little wrestling match on the bed again. And, it's looking so awkward and so crazy. And she realizes, I can't do this. Like, this is not what I want. I basically want you to leave. And he was like, you want me to leave? So this is what I said in last episode why this man blatantly told you that he wanted sex from you, from these drinks he's about to buy. And you still brought him over, so you know what he wanted. Now he's looking like you a tease. And she said, I'm sorry. She apologized and said, it's not you, it's me. Even on the back of her mind, she was like, yeah, it is kind of like you because, he wasn't satisfying her. But the point is, once he called her a bitch and said, you a tease like the rest of these women, this is when she started talking to herself like, don't know, Danny, don't say nothing. And Danny at this point should not have said anything. I know he pissed you off with the B word, but you should have just let him walk, Danny. Then she started attacking his manhood. He can't have sex, he's too small, all this, that, and the other. And this man, drunk, she don't know his background of violence or anything else. He backslaps her on the bed. And yeah, that's that. So this was the situation that I was afraid Danny was going to get into. They gave this disclaimer at the end on anyone that's been going through sexual harassment or abuse, a hotline number. And this is true because this happens a lot. And this is something that we cannot put ourselves in that situation. Sisters, please, ladies, don't do that. Don't use another man to get over another man. Don't entertain someone you do not know. Do not use sex, drugs, or alcohol to deal with a problematic situation that's only going to escalate and make it worse because they went out. She picked up this stranger. You just met him in the airport. You don't know anything about his situation. I guess she thought that he was just some simp that was going to roll over with his tail between his legs and she can just say whatever she wants to him and he was going to roll out. I think he would have left after she apologized, with the situation. He may have just walked away from that. But then when she turned around, didn't give him what he wanted, and she knew exactly what he wanted when he came there, but she put herself in this dangerous situation. And then you sit up there and start spewing all of this stuff about him and basically demean this man. That was a situation that made it more dangerous for you because you don't know what may ignite this man. And this is what happened. So let that be a warning. Please, ladies, do not do what we saw our sister Danni do. This is just dangerous. Gave him no excuse to put his hands on her. I'm not saying. But please let us not put ourselves in situations and basically act like a man to a man and say things that can potentially get you hurt because you never know the mindset of anybody. So thank you for joining me yet again this week. Let's hop in here and get into episode 8. And definitely join me back on my channel. Again, hit that subscribe, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. Share, and let's chat on this. Until next time, peace, fam.